More or less, how you doing?
Good. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
I know. I've had, I'm on the East Coast, and as most of you know, my father passed away, and the services were held on Friday. It was one of the most inspiring funerals I've ever been to. My father was solid as a rock. He really inspired people, and he had, obviously, like everybody else, some serious quirks. But he also lived a very rough life, but he didn't complain. I mean, that came out really clear. All the grandchildren, the children, my father just didn't complain. And so it's unusual. I think that generation maybe was more like that. He also has some serious anxiety issues. I'll use the word suppressed stress. But what the topic of today is that about processing loss is that, I had chronic pain for years, and I was always frustrated about this, frustrated about this. I was unhappy with world hunger, human trafficking, all sorts of world issues. So I was always frustrated, but by being always frustrated, I didn't have actually the energy to do anything. So what's happened
Right.
with my father's passing, and like I told you before this post, I now have other 5 other close friends and family who've had major losses. So it's
Yeah.
like the last 2 weeks, death is just around me. So what it's done for me, I've had to look at this really carefully. Okay, I'm 67, 68, and I've got so many years left. What do I really want? What do you want? So the question I keep asking this whole doctor group is, what do you really want out of life? What do you want? So I want to live a life that's healthy. I don't have my physical health. I'm not going to do well. But as you know, the physical health follows the mental health.
Yeah.
And you're the one that has said psychology follows physiology. Is that what you've said in the past?
It's the physiology. It determines the psychology. So if your nervous system is always complaining and reactive, you're not going to have balanced moods, and you're not going to be able to pursue the things that are important to you.
So what happened to me, and you've said this before, is about welcoming and the unwelcome. I mean, I don't welcome death. I don't welcome my friends' losses. And a loss
Right.
is a loss, but it just hit me really hard that I can't go back and change it. And I can remain a victim of that loss, or I can just really choose to just dig in and live my own life. And my responsibility to the planet and to my family is to live a really good, solid life. So I think
Right.
I told you. So I guess I'm just asking you the question. It's a different version of my mind, sort of a different feeling about welcoming and the unwelcome. In other words, I don't want to welcome death. I don't want to
Yeah.
welcome loss. I mean,
So, so
I'm not going to make them pleasant, but if I
right.
avoid, the wording's critical here.
Let's answer this question. What do you think has shifted in you? It sounds like you now have a whole different person. What do you think has shifted in you, really? Is there
Um,
something that's shifted in you? It's not that you see life differently, or not that you didn't see it differently before, but there's something different about you.
well, we've all intellectually known about losses, about we're going to die, family members are going to die. And just with my father passing on, it just gets me really serious about today. And we already intellectually know this,
Yeah.
but am I serious or not? I mean, what do I actually really want? So I've
Yeah.
made major dietary changes, which I never would have made in the past. I had the best sleep score I've ever had. My hip pain's down about 80%. And I've sort of been used to limping around. It becomes sort of a bad habit, suffering in pain, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going, well, okay, do I want to keep suffering like this? Because I do know if I go to anti-inflammatory diet, I start sleeping. I decided to go gluten free, which I don't know much about yet. I drop in the alcohol. I never would have done that before. So
Yeah.
the question is, how serious about living my life? So I've been limping around for years. I've known when I actually do what I'm supposed to do, I feel better.
Yeah.
So
So
it's not used to being in pain, right?
yeah, David. So you bring up two things. Is you're talking about neuroplasticity,
Right,
which I want you to share. And I think there was a recent article that came out on Psychology Today that you wrote.
right,
I was wondering if you can speak to that, because there's a change, and if you keep doing this, what would happen? And I can also speak to the acceptance part. There are two things we're speaking here without saying it. We're talking about neuroplasticity. When you
right,
really want something and you start pursuing it, it's almost like what you have in front of you, David, is basically what matters to you in life: family, friends, health, things like that. It's
right.
almost you're moving towards it. But could you speak to neuroplasticity, or maybe define it? And then I'll talk to the acceptance part.
Right. So that is the essence of solving chronic pain is that you move towards wellness. In other words, you move towards your vision. But we get so used to fighting off pain and anxiety and frustration that we're so used to fighting, we lose track of our vision.
Yeah.
So my vision is I want to live a great life. I want to be healthy and vigorous all the way to the end. And I want to enjoy my family and friends. That's what I actually want. And so when you no longer, I use the word process anxiety and anger, they're never going to be pleasant. I'm not trying to transmute those into pleasant experiences,
Yeah.
but my mind is going to go towards where I want to. I mean, I've been at this for a while, but I just went another 10 feet deeper with my root. I've
Yeah.
always said before you reach higher, you have to dig deeper, right?
Yep.
There's some serious digging going on. I go, okay, here I am. And again, one of my close friends' husband just passed away last week out of nowhere. Was healthy,
Yeah.
thin, exercise, yeah, just dropped dead, 70 years old. So I'm going, what? So, I mean, just life is unpredictable. We intellectually know that, but this is different than that. What do I
Yeah.
want today?
So that's what you want today. And it sounds like the more you keep doing this, the brain keeps changing and then
Right.
it becomes a new habit. That's what
Correct.
you're really speaking to.
Right.
And that in of itself is neuroplasticity. The other part that we're talking also about that you spoke really well about is when people hear welcome the unwelcome, there's this vile reaction of, so I have to put up with this, tolerate. Welcome the unwelcome. If you peel the label behind that statement, it says, fully embracing acceptance, which basically means when something difficult shows up, you have a choice of trying to push it away, trying to pull in good things, or if you can just kind of remain just noticing it, how it's showing up and unfolding inside of you. That's the
Right.
training. So welcoming the unwelcome is basically saying, a willingness to experience your reality. And your reality is there's lots of losses. And many people that we treat, David, it sounds like when a loss is a loss. So we talked about this off camera, is that we would just, this audience, this is to you, David and I were saying that whether it's a loss of a person, place, or a situation, or a functionality in chronic pain,
Right.
this is where you are right now. So what, and David is asking, begging, encouraging everyone, the audience, saying is, so now what do you want? If you have this loss and it's been going on for many years, you now have a choice today to make that change. And it's small, tiny steps that will start to make those changes.
Right.
Again, so David went all out. So he's doing dietary change, and knowing David is, the way he is, he will keep at it. So he really means what he says. So I believe you and I support you. So that's
See,
wonderful, David.
that's what's different though. I mean, I've made all these sort of ideas that last for half a day or a day. This feels totally different. So I'm either here for real or I'm not. I just talked to a person this weekend. I won't tell you the background. Horrible chronic pain for 25 years, multiple surgeries. And there was a hint that there's a solution for it. He just said no, no interest at all. And that's a whole different topic. The question,
Yeah.
what do you want? Do you want to hold on to your pain, or do you want to actually live the life that you want to live?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have a saying in my kitchen that my kids grew up with: do the work, get the results.
right, absolutely.
That's
So,
basically what you're saying.
what's your thought for the Dr. Arya? I'm not sure I have a thought for the day at this moment.
Well, I think the thought for the day is exactly what you've been prescribing to us already from the beginning. If you want change, go after it. Stop blabbering about it.
Right.
That comes from a place of compassion. So basically, if you really want change, it requires you to drop the complaining and embrace, like, this is where I am. Yes, it's difficult, whether it's chronic pain or loss. Now, what do you want to move towards? So pretty much that's the thought of the day. If you want something, what do you want to move towards?
So I have a quick corollary to that. So I went to the Hoffman process, and they did have a suggestion. We take the word try, which is the ultimate victim word,
Yep.
cross it out, and put it up on your bathroom mirror. Then in a refrigerator, just put up the word do. So you just either, so the word try is a disaster,
Mhm.
right? I tried to do this, but I couldn't. So I'm a victim of something that prevented me from succeeding.
Right.
And the other corollary is I have for years, I don't put anything on my to-do list I'm actually not going to do. So once you put it down on my to-do list, it's a commitment actually to do that. So anyway, this has been an interesting phase. We're going to be talking about different aspects of it this week. I'm excited to be back. I don't know if you can tell, it does feel different to me. It really does feel quite different this week. And we'll see how it plays out over the next few weeks. But in spite of the losses, I'm sort of excited about the changes that are going to happen. And I had another massive paradigm shift last night that we'll talk about later. Just about
Got you.
so,
I love that you're excited, David, and hopefully people can tap your excitement. It's what we call in psychology, you are now getting existential. You're going beyond just words. You're really tapping into something beyond the meaning of life, the meaning of having a fulfilling life despite losses. So that's fantastic, David.
So you can access Dr. Arya at remedypain.co. You can access my work on the docjourney.com. And this is Dynamic Healing Moments, which again honors the interaction between your life and you. And you get to actually watch symptoms dissolve and disappear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Les.
Yeah.
Have a great
Have a
day.
good morning, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, David. Bye, everyone.